Think about what just a little strength could do with that. And so let's say we have two swimmers who are identical in terms of their technique and their capacity. But one swimmer can only do 5 pull-ups. That's her max. The other swimmer can do 10 pull-ups. That's her max. Now, of course, in the last 25 of 100, you're not able to go 100% even though you're going all out. You're just not going to be able to do that a minute into a race. Your 100% is gone by then. But if you're trying to hang on for dear life, you're probably operating around the 80%, maybe even 90%. So let's say even we cut them in half. You're operating at 50%. Well, person with only 5 pull-ups, now they're at 2 or 3, and the person with 10 is still going to win. They're at 5 pull-ups if we're operating at 50%. And if we're operating at 80%, well, the 5 pull-ups goes down to 4, and the 10 goes down to 8. Think about what that extra strength could do in terms of being able to hang on at the end of the race, to keep that catch a little bit better, to keep that forearm a little bit more vertical, to hold water, keep the tension tight through the core as they're swimming. Because that line is so fine in terms of the easy swimming at the start and being able to ride that back end, a little strength can really go a long way. And remember, when we talked about strength training before and the muscle type fibers, there are actually some really positive transitions to the strength training on the muscle where we can change the type 2X fibers that are the least helpful in endurance to closer to the type 2A fibers. And that's part of the reserve capacity that we're talking about here too. If we can raise the ability for a swimmer to have just a little bit more endurance through the actual strength of doing a few more pull-ups, or also changing the muscle fibers from type 2X, which have almost zero endurance, to at least a little bit endurance with the type 2A. This can have a tremendous impact on a swimmer's back half. And this is what we're talking about when we're referring to a swimmer's reserve capacity. It's going to translate to easier speed at the front end because we've raised their overall capacity. If they can do 10 pull-ups as opposed to 5, asking each of those swimmers to do 4, the one that can only do 5, she's having to work a lot closer to her red line. And you don't want that early in the race, right? So if you have a swimmer that can do 10 pull-ups and you ask them to do 4, that's no problem. It's going to be the same thing in the race, no matter what the distances are. And yes, there are going to be metabolic differences between the 50 and the mile, but still, if we increase the overall capacity that a swimmer has in strength and shifting the curve as much as we can in training, it's going to allow for better back half, which any swimmer and any coach is going to be appreciative for.